What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today we are recapping day 2 of training camp, and oh, was it an offensive showcase for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Starting with Aaron Rodgers, he balled out in practice. He went 13 of 16 with a touchdown pass, 9 of 12 with a touchdown in 11 on 11. And the Lazard drop was one of the incompletions. Unfortunately, Allen Lazard, stellar day in day 1. Second day had a drop, but did end the day with a touchdown catch. But the play of the day, I'm sure if you're on social media, you've seen this clip going around, but Aaron Rodgers finds Garrett Wilson deep down the field as he beats DJ Reed. And oh my goodness gracious, am I pumped up to see this. Oh, I don't know, 100 to 115 times this year. How many catches is Garrett Wilson going to have? I am very excited for the Rodgers to Wilson connection because, well, I think it's going to be a damn good one. And inject all these slow-mo videos right into my veins, please. Sticking on the offensive side of the ball being dominant, what has stood out in a major positive is how good the offensive line has played. The offensive line was sensational today. And to note, that is without Elijah Vera-Tucker and Morgan Moses. Wes Schweitzer and Max Mitchell have been getting a majority of the reps on the right side. So this is not even a complete unit yet, but they have stood out. They have kept Rodgers clean in the pocket. If you look at some of the highlights that are being tossed out there from training camp and look at the pockets, Aaron Rodgers has all day to throw, and Tyron Smith and John Simpson in particular, the left side of the line, and I'll even toss in there Joe Tippmann too, have been really making some headway in the ground game. And again, this is at this point in training camp is usually an advantage to the defensive line when they don't really have the full pads on and stuff like that. So to see them working at this level is really exciting. By the way, Elijah Vera-Tucker and Morgan Moses should be back next week, according to Robert Saleh. So that is another plus on the New York Jets offensive line front. They stood out. Brees and Braylon Allen had some headway in the ground game. As I said, Rodgers looked really good. He was spreading the ball around. Really impressive day for the offense, but a couple things on the defense before we get into some quotes for today. Someone who is fighting for a roster spot, Takk McKinley, was an edge rusher who they signed, and he had 3 sacks today. Now, does that mean, he had a great day, he's going to make the roster? No, but if you're fighting for a roster spot with some UDFAs like Eric Watts and Braden McGregor and guys like that, you're going to have to stand out in practice, and making plays, whether it's against the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, wherever, helps you stand out. And McKinley was one of the Jets' better defensive players today. So count that one as a positive, as he, again, especially with no Reddick right now too, is going to get a lot more opportunity. And today he took advantage of that. Quantez Stigger stood out once again. That is someone who stood out during OTAs and minicamps. The Jets rookie who they drafted on day 3 is really stood out as a positive since all spring and now heading into the summer. When he had a good OTA and minicamp, I was happy about it and glad for him. But my thought was, all right, let's see if this continues into the summer. And so far it has. We'll see what his role is right now. I would assume best case scenario is the main backup to one of the outside corners in either DJ Reed or Sauce Gardner. You also have Brandon Echols in the mix who could be backups. And I absolutely think he is in the mix to be this team's cornerback number 2 of the future. DJ Reed is entering the final year of his contract. The Jets have some very difficult decisions to make after the season regarding who they would like to keep and extend. In a perfect world, can you keep everyone who's expiring? Yes, but unfortunately in a capped sport, that's not always the reality of the situation. And if the Jets do let DJ Reed walk, which I think is pretty likely, you could go right to Quantez Stiggers in a perfect world. Now, this is not me crowning him a cornerback 2, for 2025 before we even play it down in 2024. But this is a name that you should watch this year and keep notes in the back of your head because it's someone who the Jets are evaluating this year to see if he can be the guy going forward. If he can't, they could dip into the draft. They could dip into free agency in a bargain bin option. There's other things that they could do, but moral of the story, Stigger stood out as a positive. Taking a vacation this summer, I hate packing. I never know what to pack. I pack too much sometimes. Sometimes I don't pack nearly enough at all. But that's where Mando comes in to simplify travel with Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar. It's a 5-ounce bar that does the work of a shampoo, face wash, body wash, and deodorant. You could also use it to create a rich shaving lather. So technically, it's really closer to a 5-in-1. I love using Mando, and my favorite so far that I've used from them has been the Bourbon Leather Body Wash. It's an American-made product and was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code O'Leary, that's my last name, O'Leary, at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Get yourself a starter pack. Pick up the Bourbon Leather Body Wash, whatever it is that catches your eye. I got you hooked up with the discount. All right, to the clips we go. Robert Saleh spoke on Tyron Smith being special.
Out of the fact he's having a success.
No, for sure. He's what makes him, whether pads or not, he plays so well with his length. He's got ridiculous length, and he plays so well with his hands. He's always making first meaningful contact with his length and his hands and keeping people off his body. And when you can do that, you don't even need pads. And but he is a technician. He's savvy. He's violent, he's powerful, and he's an unbelievable teammate.
On the field, he is just such a technician, and you absolutely love it. And I have to include this clip that was taken by Let's Talk Jets Radio. If you aren't following them on Twitter, you absolutely should be. They go all the time to training camp, and they get great videos, including this video of Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses working 15 minutes after practice and coaching up the offensive line. The veteran presence with those two guys is really impressive. I think they're going to help along guys like Olu Fashanu and even Joe Tippmann. I know he doesn't play tackle, but Joe Tippmann, John Simpson, those guys getting just in the same offensive line room as those two veterans who have had just really good success at the NFL level is unbelievable. And Joe Tippmann also talked about meeting with and working with Nick Mangold a little bit too. So that's another one to toss in there. But just because we saw the clip of Tyron working after practice, I wanted to include that as well. Speaking of Tyron Smith, Jermaine Johnson spoke about going up against Tyron Smith in practice and how that only makes him better.
Invaluable. I think he's the best pass protector in the NFL. So going up against that every single day, I mean, you can't help but learn from it. And on top of that, you know, he'll talk after the play and after practice, and you know, yin and yang, and what I could do better, what he sees, and you know, vice versa. So it's just invaluable to be able to go up against every single day.
I love how JJ refers to Tyron as one of the best or the best pass blocking offensive tackles in football. I think it's true. I think the guy is an absolute stud as a pass protector. He holds his own as a run blocker. He's not a bad pass run blocker, by any stretch of the imagination. But once again, there is no better guy for Olu Fashanu to sit behind and to work with than Tyron Smith. I just really hope he eats up as much knowledge as humanly possible. And last but certainly not least, Robert Saleh spoke on penalties and why he started to pull guys after penalties were taken.
Yeah, especially the false starts, the self-inflicted wounds. You know, it's just a reminder, a simple reminder. It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. It's just to try to just remind us all that it is a big deal, and those 5 yards can cost us, and they cost us a year ago. But if we can just eliminate those self-inflicted wounds, the pre-snap penalties, we'd we'd be significantly better.
Penalties were a major issue for the Jets last year. I think we could all look back to the game against the Las Vegas Raiders where a penalty took a touchdown off the board, completely changing the game for the New York Jets. They were just one of the most penalized teams, especially in the second half of last year during their losing streak. And that is going to be the difference of games. It was last year, but when you are supposed to be competitive and supposed to be good, it matters that much more. So this is something that they absolutely must clean up. And I'm glad that they are taking an emphasis on it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Give the video a like before you go, and I'll catch you next time.